Power BI DAX Function Tutorial Part 1. Hi, I'm M. Asif Hussain from KnowHow Academy. What are we going to learn in this video? We are going to learn the different DAX functions such as day, month, year, weekday, week number, now, today, date, date diff, date value, calendar, calendar auto in Power BI. By this end of this video, we are going to get an excellent idea how we have to use the different DAX functions in Power BI with practical examples, and I request everyone to watch till the end. So let's work on it. I have two data sets here by the name orders and by the name data. Alright, so now if I just walk you over the table or the data called orders, we have row ID, order date, ship date and all. So let us consider in this part 1 the different date and time functions we are going to discuss. So for that we need to have the date column. So here we have two date columns, order date and shipment date. Alright, so let's work on the date columns and see how these DAX functions are going to help us. But before that, we need to understand two different concepts. Whenever we are talking something about a DAX function, DAX, it stands for Data Analysis Expression. And why are we using this DAX function? We are using the DAX functions to calculate the information which is required as per the client's requirement. So the data that we have it in our data set, that is the readily data. So now we are performing transformations, we are cleaning the data, that's a secondary part. Okay, so whatever the client's requirement is, that if that requirement is not available in our data set, we have to use DAX functions to calculate it. Now the first concept that you should know is whenever we are talking something about the DAX function, then we should always think about calculated columns and calculated measures. And we also have the new table, quick measure and so on. So what is calculated column and what is calculated measure? So calculated column, it will calculate it in a row level basis. And in this calculated column, when I am talking about whenever we choose a calculated column, in the name itself we have calculated column. We are calculating a column. So when we are calculating a column will be physically present in the data set. So for instance, let us consider that here I have the column still profit. So when I come here to the table tools and if I select on new column, then a new column will be added to the data set, which obviously indicates that we are increasing the size of the columns. Am I right? We are increasing the size of the data set. Now when I am talking about a calculated measure, we generally use it for calculating the aggregations like aggregated data and so on. So whenever we are choosing this calculated measure, we will get the answer, we will get the value, but the answers or the value cannot be physically seen in a data set. It cannot be physically seen in the columns. It cannot be physically seen in the table view, but it will be stored inside the variable. So for instance, if I select new measure and do some calculation, then as a new column, I cannot see the column or measure here as a column. No, but it will be stored inside the variable in your table. Okay, so that is the difference between calculated column and calculated measure. Now, if I would like to talk about the next concept is the operators. So whenever we are learning or we are working on any of the DAX functions, we should also know the operators, the different types of operators that we have in our Power BI. So when I'm talking about the operators, we might have heard this word called operators many times, but if you are new for these operators, don't think this is a very big keyword. I'm just talking about the operators such as we have the arithmetical operators, logical operators, if I talk to you about the arithmetical operators, such as we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and we have comparison operators, equal to, strict equal to, less than equal to, greater than equal to, logical operators, and or we have no text concatenating operators such as concat. So these are the different operators we have. We should also have an idea about all these operators whenever we are working on the DAX functions. So my dear viewers, when we are talking about the operators and when we are talking about the calculated columns and measures, so it is not compulsory that we use the operator in every single column or every single measure that we are using it, but it purely depends upon what type of DAX functions we are using and for which kind of calculation. So let's learn one by one. Here, in my particular data set called orders, I have the column called order date. So here, if you understand the format, we have date, we have month, and we have year. So here, if we look into it, the first date that we have is 3rd January 2016, and the last date that we have is 16th April 2019. Okay, so if I just walk you with the new column first, new column, as soon as I click on new column, let us learn the first DAX function, which is day, day, day. So here, as you can see, I have clicked on new column. As soon as I have clicked on new column, here we have to type our calculated column. So the column name, what I would like to write it, that you have to specify it first. So I would like to find out day, and that's where I have written it as day, which is a column name. Now day equal to, here I have to write my DAX function, which is a day. What is day giving us? Day giving us a number from 1 to 31st, representing the day of the month. It will give only the day of the month, where we have to select the date column here. So what is the date column we have? We have order date. So order date is again under which particular table? It is under orders table. So click on order date. Now as soon as you click on enter, we can see that we have got the day column similar to the day that we have it in our order date, 28, 3rd December, 3rd, 28, 28, like this, as you can see it here. Am I right? So now walking to the next DAX function, which is month. So for this, again I am clicking on a new column. So as soon as I click on new column, I have to write my column name, which is month. Now I would like to get month. So if you are observing here, I am not disturbing the original column order date. Without disturbing the original column order date, I am writing the new calculated columns. So month. So for month, the DAX function itself is month. The DAX function itself is month. Month, it returns a number from 1st January to 12th December, representing the month. But if you observe here, we are not getting the January, February, March. No, we are getting the numbers. January means 1, February means 2. So it is giving us the numbers in an output for the month. So now what we have to choose a column here? We have to choose a column called date. So where do we have it? We have it here under orders table, order date. So as soon as I click on month, I have got the month column here. All right, so we have found a day, we have found month. Now let us find out the year. So again, I'm clicking on a new column. So here I'm clicking on year. Year equal to, the DAX function itself is year. So what year is giving us? It is returning the year of a date as a 4-digit number, So here it is again asking us to give the date information. Where do we have it? We have it in the order date. So where do we have the order date column? We have it in the orders table. So I am clicking on order date and I am clicking on enter. So as soon as I have clicked on enter, we have got the year. As you can see, we have got the day, we have got the month, and we have got the year. Am I right? So let's walk into the another type of DAX function. So for that, I am clicking on new column. So a general question to you all. How many weeks do we have in a year? How many weeks do we have in a year? So in order to find out that, we also have a DAX function in our Power BI, that is week number. So for week number, the DAX function itself is week number. So I'm clicking on week number and it is asking me to choose the date information. So where do we have this date information? We have it in order date, which is in orders table. So now I'm clicking on enter. So as you can see that we have got the week number. So if I just show you the total week numbers, which are 53, all right. So that is a week number. So week number is different, weekday is different. So let us find out weekday as well. So for this, again I am choosing my new column. So as you are observing, whenever I am clicking on a new column, a new calculated column is getting added to my existing table. A new calculated column is getting added to my existing data. So which is increasing the size, obviously. So weekday equal to the DAX function itself is weekday. So weekday of, so it returns a number from 1 to 7 identifying the day of the week of a table. So in a week we have 7 days, right? So by considering the date, it is returning us the numbers from 1 to 7, which particular weekday it is. So for that we have to go with the date column, which is order date. Again, this order date, it is in orders table. So click on this orders table. Now click on enter. So we have got the weekday. All right. So this particular date belongs to which weekday? That is the number that we are getting it here in the output. So we have seen the day, we have seen month, we have seen year, we have seen week number, we have seen weekday. All right. So now let us learn the another DAX function. Okay, so for this again I am choosing a new column. So let me ask you a question. If you would like to see what is the current date or what is the present date and what is the present time that you have it in your computer. So to see that, we have to use the DAX function called now. So let us consider now. Okay, so whatever the column name, it's up to you. So the DAX function here I am choosing it is now. I am not passing any parameter here as it is just a function. I am just writing now and I am clicking on enter. As you can see that we have got the date and as well as we have got the time as well. See, so now in my present computer, 4th September 2024, 6:39:52, 52 seconds, 6:39 or 6:40 a.m. is the time. So this is the current time and the present time and the present date it is giving us in the output. All right. So now the very similar DAX function to now that we have is today. So let's learn that. So for this, I am clicking on a new column. So here I am choosing the DAX function called today. Now, what is the difference between now and today? That I'm going to explain it to you. So I'm clicking on today and I'm clicking on enter. So what I'm trying to do, as it is in date and time, let me convert it into the format. I'm just changing in the date format. If you can see that it is giving us the date alone. The time it is not giving us. It is not giving us the time. The time is just 12:0000 something, some random time. Okay, but it is not giving us the time. It is giving us the date. So today will give us the date, and now will give us the present date and the present time that we have it in our laptop, that we have it in our system. So that is the difference between now and today. Now let me walk you to the next DAX function. So we have seen new column. Now let me tell you one interesting point, that though we have loaded these two data sets from some external source, but we can still create a new table in the Power BI itself. So for that, I am choosing on new table here. So now what I am doing it, in this new table, I'm just giving some table name and I would like to make it as a date table. So for this, I am writing the table name as date table. So here I am using the DAX function called calendar. Using the calendar DAX function, I can even create a new table, as well as using this calendar function, I can get the date in a date table. So for this, I am choosing the DAX function called calendar. So as soon as I click on calendar, it is telling me to input the start date and the end date. If you are not aware what exactly is your start date, then we also should know one another DAX function which is called as first date. If you don't know what is your start date, no need to worry. We have to just use the DAX function first date, and we should select the column name where we have the date column. So we have it order date under the orders table. So under the orders table, we have order date. Under that order date column, what is the first date, that it will choose it automatically. So I'm closing the bracket for this first order, first date, comma. Now what is the end date? If you do not have an idea what exactly is the end date, no need to worry. So here we have to choose another DAX function called as last date. So as soon as you click on last date, it is giving us the last date. But now from which particular table? Orders date table. So where is it? Under the orders table. So order date, I am closing the bracket, click on enter. As you can see that the calendar DAX function, it has given me the date information by getting the dates from the orders table, orders date column, by comparing that. So as we do not know what is our start date and what is our end date, so what we have done, we have chosen the first date, we have chosen the last date, so that we can exactly get our first date and we can exactly get our last date. So that's where calendar function works. So now if you understand the point, the calendar function, it is giving me from the day 1 to the day end, that we have it in our orders date and with the time as well. So if you want to convert this one into date format, it's just a format that you have to change it. So go here and just change it to date format. Okay, so we will get the date table in a date format. All right. So now let me walk you to the next DAX function. So for this, what I'm trying to do, I will go here to the table tool. I'll choose a new table. All right. So in this new table, what I'll do, again, I'm choosing some another DAX function here. So let me consider that just a date. I would like to choose it, date calendar auto. It's just a name that I would like to choose it. So here what I am doing, I am choosing the DAX function called calendar auto. If you observe, it will returns a table with one column of dates calculated from the model automatically. It will return a table with one column of dates. So what it will do, calendar auto, automatic calendar. All right, I can call it as. So what it is doing is, it is giving us the date informations from day 1 of the year till the day end of the year. So when I am talking about the day 1 of the year to the day end of the year, it will also include the dates which are there in our data set, which are in between the day 1 of the year to the day end of the year. So if I close the parenthesis and click on enter, you can see day 1 of the year, 1/1/2016. But earlier, if we see here in the date table where we have extracted the date column by choosing the first date is 3rd January 2016. But if you see here in the calendar auto, we did not get from 3rd January, right? We have got it from the 1st January. So from the day 1 of the year to the day end of the year, it will automatically give us the dates, but by including the dates which we have it in our data set. So that's where calendar auto will work here in Power BI. All right. So now let me walk you to the next DAX function. So for this, I'll come back to my table orders. So here what we have calculated a lot of DAX functions such as day, month, year, and so on. As you can see that we have the day column, month column, year column. Now these three are separate. Now I would like to get it into one column as a date. So for that, what DAX function I have to choose? So for that, what I'm trying to do, I'm going to a new column. Here in a new column, I am writing the column name as new date. Okay, no two column names should be same. New date equal to, here I am choosing the DAX function called date. What this date is telling, it is asking me to input the year. So where do we have year? We have year in the orders date table, right? Under orders dates table we have year. So let me choose year here. We have year, comma. Again it is asking me the month. Where do we have month? Under orders table we have month. Now comma day. Under orders table also we have day. Alright, so we have day. Now I am closing the parenthesis, click on enter. We will get these three into one. 28, 8, 2017, right? So if you want to change the format of it to date format, you can just click on here and change the date format. So we have got 28 August 2017. So this is how you can use the date function. If you have the separate dates in separate columns, you can make it into one specific column. So that's where we have the date DAX function. Now let us understand the another DAX function called as DATEDIFF. Okay, in the name itself we have DATEDIFF. Diff is nothing but the difference between two dates, right? So for that, what I'm trying to do, again I'm choosing a new column. So here in the new column, so let me go and write the column name as DATEDIFF. Okay, so DATEDIFF of, so what it is asking me, it is asking me to choose the date 1. So date 1, let me consider the new date that we have it in our orders table that we have created just now, new date, comma, date 2, let us consider the date 2 as our orders date itself, orders date, okay, so which we have in the orders table, comma. Now it is asking us the interval, as you can carefully observe. So you want to subtract these two dates, that's fine, but on what basis? On hour basis, on day basis, on month basis, on second basis, on quarter basis, that it's asking us. So for that, let me choose hour here, or if you want you can choose day, it's up to you. If whatever you want, you would like to choose it. Alright, now just close the parenthesis and click on enter. So whatever the difference we have, we will get it here. So as we have the same dates, we are getting 0. As we have the same dates, we are getting 0. If you have some number, you will get the number. If you would like to change it as part of second, then click on enter, then you will get it as part of second. So again, if it is same value, we are getting 0 here. But whatever the interval you choose, on the basis of that interval, you are going to get the output. Alright, so now we have seen the DATEDIFF. Let us understand the another DAX function that we have is DATEVALUE. Alright, so for writing the DAX function DATEVALUE, let me click on new column. In this new column, I am writing my column name as DATEVALUE. So what exactly is this DATEVALUE giving us? Okay, so as soon as I click on DATEVALUE, you can see that it is converting a date in the format of text to a date in date time format. It is converting a date in the form of text. It is converting it in a text format. So for this, from a text to a date format. So if you carefully read this one, it converts a date in the form of text, whichever it is in the text, to a date format. So for this date text, so for this what I'm choosing the day. So where do we have under orders, we have day. So here I am choosing our operator where it is a concatenate operator. It is using as for the concatenation, for combining. So here I am choosing my concatenate operator. Then I'll give some hyphen like this. Again I am writing my concatenate operator and I am choosing my month column which is in my orders table. So again I am choosing my concatenate operator. So I am giving double quotation so that all these things are nothing but it is I have to separate day or month, year. So that's where I'm choosing the concatenation, combining it and separating it with some hyphen. So here double quotation dash double quotation close. Again I am choosing my concatenate operator and here I am choosing my year. So where do we have year? Under the orders table we have year. So now I'll close the parenthesis and click on enter. So whenever I would like to convert my date which is in text format to a date format, I could go with the date value DAX function. Date value DAX function. So again we have got this in a date and year, date as well as in a time format. As you can see, all the times mentioned here are stable. So if you want to convert it to only into a date format, just go here and change the format to date. So we will get only it in a date format. All right. So my dear viewers, we have seen so many interesting DAX functions here in our Power BI. So in this video, we have learned the different concepts such as what is DAX function, different operators we have in DAX function, difference between new calculated column and new calculated measure. We have seen different DAX functions such as day, month, year, weekday, week number, now, today, calendar, calendar auto, date, date diff, and date value DAX function in Power BI. So thank you for choosing KnowHow Academy as your source for IT knowledge. We are always here to help you to navigate the tech world. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you. Stay curious and keep learning.